Hello and good evening, Chicago. Welcome on into Chi-Town Weekly here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Adam Karnick back with you. We have got a lot to get through tonight. A lot of it is going to be basketball related. The Chicago Bulls had a first-round pick other than 7th overall. We previewed that last week. Well, they went ahead and made a decision. Dalen Terry is the newest member of the Chicago Bulls. The young man was introduced earlier today to the press and to the public at large. We will discuss that move, an interesting move by the Bulls. I was not expecting it, to say the least. We will break down that move. Then we have got to talk about the Chicago Sky. What an amazing week they had last week, going 3-0 and propelling themselves to a half game back of the Las Vegas Aces for first place in the entire league. Are they starting to come into their own? We will discuss it. And then finally, we know that I like to talk hockey whenever possible. Well, we've got some good news to talk about on the local hockey front. We've got a champion to discuss and a new head man in charge. All that plus more. Stick around, buckle it on up. Let's have some fun. And welcome on into Chi-Town Weekly, everybody. I am your host, Adam Karnick. So glad that you are here, taking time out of your day, your evening, whether it is here on Monday night or if you're listening later on in the week as a podcast. I am just glad and humbled that you have taken time to fit me into your sports schedule. Before we go any further, of course, we've got lots to get to tonight, so let's dive in here. Without any further ado, of course, we do need to talk about our sponsors here at the network. Those would be, of course, the Southern California Warriors semi-pro football team. The world of semi-pro sports is unlike any other sports organizations. Players pay to play in hopes of so many different outcomes, whether it's playing to get filmed to try out for professional teams, big-time colleges, or just playing to stay in shape. No matter what, all semi-pro players have one thing in common, and that's playing for the love of the game. The SoCal Warriors have been on a quest to earn titles and give players second chances since 2017. Whether you're in Southern California or anywhere in the world, give semi-pro sports a chance if you love your sport. You may get that second chance you've been waiting for as an athlete. Find them on Twitter at SoCal Warriors, Instagram at Southern California _Warriors, Facebook, search Southern California Warriors. And IE Sports Radio is available for you as well on all the major social platforms. Of course, Twitter at IE Sports Radio, Instagram at IE Sports Radio, Facebook, search IE Sports Radio. And we just launched our IE Sports Radio TikTok page. Let me see if I can get that feed for you here. I personally am not on TikTok, so we are at IE Sports Radio on TikTok as well, so you can find some of the different videos and things. Chris Lemon does an excellent job putting that together, compiling some different videos from some of the different hosts around the network, so we are also now available on TikTok for you as well. For the last 8 years, IE Sports Radio has been bringing you amazing content ranging from interviewing legendary athletes to building tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports cities around the country. All the while, we've continued to be by the fans, for the fans. With your help, we're ready to take the next step. When you go to our website, iesportsradio.com, you'll see our Patreon link with 5 different tiers. The first one starting at just $5 a month. This donation gets you shout-outs on all of our shows. Higher tiers include IE Sports Radio merchandise, access to our podcasting university, and even a chance to be featured on a segment of our flagship show, The Defining Moment. Thank you all very much for continuing to make IE Sports Radio your direct feed for all that is sports. And our Patreon supporters, Bay Area Raised, Emlos Great, Key to the Gate, and Anonymous. Thank you to those supporters. You really are helping us raise the bar. Recently, we were able to join with our sister stations, USRN, and the Ultimate Sports Radio Network, and with Wellington Sports Radio, WSR. IE Sports Radio was able to join with them in creating our own IE Sports Radio Mixler account, which allows us to do live calls of different sporting events. IE Sports Radio over the summer is going to be doing a ton of Major League Soccer and other world-level football events, soccer matches from not only here domestically, but also some international matches and games as well. Your support on Patreon allows us to do that, as well as other donations we've got. And so that we're not just pocketing this and calling it a day. It is helping the station. So thank you so much for your support. It just helps us to keep moving forward and keep taking the next step. And of course, this show is available for you on Twitter as well, at IESRC, if you want to follow along there. I am available also on Twitter at Adam_Karnick. If you are listening live here tonight on Monday night, please hop on into the chat room in Spreaker. You just have to create a username. It's free. There's no cost associated with that. Hop on into the chat. We can interact back and forth that way. Good evening, Taryn. I see you in there hanging out in the chat. Or if you're listening as a podcast later, or if you are listening live and you just want to sit back and listen to me, I am here for you in whatever makes you most comfortable. Thank you just for being here. I do appreciate it. All right, so you may have heard in the little tease I did at the open there, we have got a lot to get through tonight. A lot of different sports. We're going to be hitting the NBA. We're going to be hitting the WNBA. We're going to be hitting the AHL, the NHL, possibly even some MLB if we've got time. So lots to get through. Let's dive into it. Dalen Terry, the newest member of the Chicago Bulls, got introduced earlier today at a press conference. The 18th overall pick by the Chicago Bulls, Arturas Karnisovas and Mark Eversley, making their pick. Bulls, of course, didn't have a first-round pick last year, so this is the first one since Patrick Williams came into the fold. So, what do we think of this move? I'll tell you what I think. I was very surprised when they made the move. I was watching the draft. I had expected E.J. Liddell from Ohio State. I was feeling like a large, defensive-minded big man was what I was hoping for, whether he be a center or a forward. I know those terms are kind of getting useless now in the NBA, but somebody defensive-oriented. Well, they got that with Terry. He is seemingly right now more of a defensive-oriented guy than an offensive-oriented player. 6'7". He's got a wingspan of over 7 feet. He's just 19 years old. He turns 20 next month. Not great offensive numbers. Started all 37 games last year at Arizona. Averaged 8 points, basically 4.5 rebounds, 4 assists, and a steal, while playing just under 28 minutes a night. Not huge offensive numbers, solid defensive numbers. And he even says, quote, "My defense and my versatility is going to come over immediately." You know, he's somebody that helps out on the defensive end. Mark Eversley, Bulls general manager, did say that Terry is, quote, a capable shooter. He shot 36.5% from three in college, but he was only taking 2 a game. He averaged 2 3-pointers a night in college. So he wasn't shooting a ton. I was very surprised by the draft. I was taken aback. It was to me a very surprising signing, a very surprising move. I reached out a little bit to Davidson Crooks before the show tonight, and Davidson, of course, one of the hosts of Fast Break here on IE Sports Radio, and I talked with him about it, and he said, we're going to talk about this tonight, meaning last night, on Fast Break. So I wanted to play for you a little bit of what Davidson thought of the move, and I apologize, I didn't quite have it queued up and ready to go, but I think I've got it right at the spot here. This is Davidson Crooks of Fast Break last night talking about the Bulls drafting of guard Dalen Terry.
I was thinking about this. We're healthy. They got pretty good depth at guards. If you really think about it, they drafted Dalen Terry from Arizona. You know, at times Arizona this year, they I won't say overachieved, but they kind of really came out of nowhere. And Terry wasn't he was one of the causes, but wasn't the main one. Unlike his teammate got drafted by Indiana, Benedict Mathurin. But I thought, the Bulls need size down low. Unless they going to look through the veteran round, D-Lock in the free agency, I thought it was like, you could have got another wing player in the second round or something like that. Walker Kessler would be a perfect fit for the Bulls. I mean, a fitting glove. You talking about, Walker Kessler not maybe fighting for playing time to start for the T-Wolves. I think Kessler could have got easy playing time with the Bulls. And possibly, I don't know, they probably wouldn't have done this, but possibly maybe start it if things go right, or kind of being that part of that second unit when Vooch sits down. So I thought the Bulls could have got like a guard like a Dalen Terry, even the second round, or even undrafted, because a lot of very solid guys went undrafted in this year's draft. In my humble opinion.
All right. So that's Davidson Crooks of Fast Break last night. And again, you can catch Davidson and you can catch Dentarius every Sunday night, 7 o'clock Central, breaking down all things hoops. They do a fantastic job. Davidson's been very kind enough to be on the show here multiple times to help me with NBA stuff, because I'll be honest, the NBA is not my first sport. There's a lot of things I'm still learning. For example, I'm going to get into it here in a little bit, trying to navigate through the salary cap of the NBA. My God, you want to talk about confusing. But the point thereof, Now, to be fair to Davidson there, the Bulls did not have a second-round pick. They would have had to do some moving or maneuvering to get a second-round pick. They would have had to trade. They would have had to trade back. They would have had to trade down to acquire a second-round pick, or I guess pulled from something in the future, in future drafts, or traded somebody like Kobe White in the middle of the draft to get a second-round pick. So that could be part of it, because they didn't have a second-round pick to use. But it was very odd to me that they went guard instead of big man. I was also expecting them to go with a big man. I had mentioned Liddell, and he was there at 18. They chose not to take him. E.J. Liddell wound up lasting into the second round. So there's a couple things then that I'm trying to speculate and trying to theorize. One of the thoughts that I had last week, and I talked about it with Evan Bruner last week, was could the Bulls, with the fact that they don't have Zach LaVine inked and that situation is where it is, could that influence their move? And we both talked about it and agreed that, yeah, it very well could. Well, that's not what this is. Dalen Terry, he's not here to replace Zach LaVine. And I've read multiple reports today, by the way, that it is expected that the Bulls are going to offer Zach LaVine a 5-year deal north of $200 million when free agency opens on Thursday. And LaVine is expected to re-sign with the Bulls. So it sounds like LaVine is coming back. Nothing's done until it's done, of course, until he signs on the dotted, until the Bulls make the offer and LaVine signs on the dotted, anything's possible. But that is good news that it sounds like LaVine will be back, because that's huge. If they lose him, this is all academic. It's all for naught. It's all for nothing. But I've got some other theories then on this. Lonzo Ball proved to be last season. He was, I say Taryn, hoping that LaVine was going to wind up a Laker. No such luck. Not this time, anyway. By the way, I saw the comment earlier about asking, is Dalen Jason Terry's son? I do not know. I have not seen that. I have not read that from anybody. I can look that up for you at the break, though, and give you an answer on that. I do not know offhand. I'll get back to you on that. Lonzo Ball, when he was healthy, was exactly what the Bulls needed. He was a point guard. He was a floor general. He was a set up the offense, get players where they need to be, distribute the ball appropriately, pull up for your shot when it's appropriate to do so. The Bulls operated and played so much better when Lonzo Ball was out there. Well, Lonzo didn't play from late February on because of a couple different injuries. He had a knee injury. That's been taken care of. The one that's been the lingering problem has been a bone bruise. And that's still being a problem for him. He still reportedly is not doing basketball-related activities. He's not doing athletic, running drills or things of that nature. And so I wonder if drafting Dalen Terry wasn't a move with that in mind of, hey, we really needed Lonzo Ball. We really needed a Lonzo Ball type player. And our team changed drastically when we didn't have him. Maybe this can be that guy. But what about Alex Caruso? I can hear that question. What about Alex Caruso? Wasn't he that guy? I wonder if this move, if the Bulls, when they were making this pick of Dalen Terry, weren't thinking about making a trade for somebody. We've heard the Rudy Gobert rumors coming over from Utah. The Bulls need a big. And it's looking like if they want to get somebody of consequence, they're probably going to need to make a trade. They really can't dip necessarily into the restricted free agent market because of their salary cap situation. They'd need to look at making a trade potentially. The Bulls now have a surplus of guards. You've got Lonzo Ball, Alex Caruso, Ayo Dosunmu, and now Dalen Terry, who are all very similar type players. I wonder if the Bulls aren't looking at trading one of those guys. Oh, and Taryn, thank you for finding that for me. Dalen Terry and Jason Terry are not related. Okay, I didn't think so, but thank you for the clarification. I wonder if the Bulls aren't looking at trading one of these pieces. Lonzo, it would feel like, wouldn't make any sense to trade. He's hurt. He's also got a very big contract number. Dalen Terry, obviously, they just drafted him. They wouldn't be looking to move him. So that leaves Alex Caruso and Ayo Dosunmu. Dosunmu, of course, is the hometown favorite. Local boy done good. There would be a heartfelt outcry from the fan base of, hey, why'd you trade our kid? But on the other hand, this might be the highest his trade ceiling ever is. We don't know. You know, he was a second-round pick, and traditionally second-round picks in the NBA don't blossom necessarily. Dosunmu came in and had a terrific rookie season, but he might not ever be anything other than a role player. But if you can convince somebody that, hey, this kid might have a higher ceiling than that, look at how he did as a rookie, and you can get somebody to give you stuff back, then, sell high if you can. On the other hand, his salary is next to nothing. And in the NBA, that means something because when you're making trades, the money has to add up. And I don't understand the NBA salary cap enough to truly understand everything that goes on in making a trade in the NBA, other than I know you can't trade a player making just over $1 million and in return expect to get somebody who's making 10 times that the collective bargaining agreement won't allow a trade like that to happen. So Dosunmu is a little hard to build a trade around because he's not making very much money. Alex Caruso is making more money. He's not making superstar money, but he's making a little over $7 million. That's a little easier to trade and get something of better consequence back. It's not necessarily enough to give you a Rudy Gobert, but it's a piece that you could use as a starting point to help make it easier. So I wonder if that's not something that the Bulls are looking at doing here, is maybe looking at their gluttony of floor general point guard types and saying, we can trade one of these to get back a better big than we would have been able to draft at 18. It's a theory anyway, and I'm going to stick with it until Eversley and Karnisovitz show me something else. All right, we are going to take our first break, and then when we come back, we're going to keep talking about basketball, but we're going to talk about the WNBA. It was a dramatic and historic week for the Sky last week. We have got to talk about it. We will do that next here on Chi-Town Weekly on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Hey sports fans, do you like wine? Well, we've got the show for you. This is Let's Whine About Sports, a show where we talk about sports radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
What is going on, everybody? This is Ben Metello, the host of the Yinza Report, right here on IE Sports Radio. I'm bringing you the latest in the Steel City, the City of Champions, from the Steelers, the Penguins, the Pirates, as well as the college game with both Penn State and Pitt. You could join me every Tuesday afternoon at 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, right here on IE Sports Radio, where I'll be talking about everything from the Steel City, the City of Champions, right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Lopan, they didn't even want you. Heck, they didn't even want me. But you know what? Right about now, they have no choice. Looking for the real sports talk? Talk that's for us, the people? Look no further. The Wait a Minute Show, a prime time sports comedy cocktail that tucks you in at night. Join me and Lopan Wednesdays at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the 2livestewsradio.com and Saturday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the waitaminuteshow.com. Sounds like a plan to me. Ain't that right, Lopan?
Indeed.
Blackout.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Davidson.
It's your boy Dentarius Live.
And we are the hosts of Fast Break here on IE Sports Radio, where we discuss everything in the world of basketball from prep to the pros.
You guys should definitely check us out, man. Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. We got all the basketball information you guys need, so we look forward to you guys listening in.
And please do, because we are the best basketball show on this side of the Mississippi. And please do check us out on Twitter at FastBreakISR. D-Lock, where's our time again?
8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. That give you guys plenty of time on a Sunday.
Tune in.
And welcome back into Chi-Town Weekly here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. I am Adam Karnick, your host. Once again, thank you so much for spending time in your week with me here. Talked some NBA there in the first segment. I want to stick with basketball, but now we're going to talk about the women. We are going to talk about the Chicago Sky. What a week the Sky had last week. You had drama and you had history in their 3 games. We'll start with the most recent game against the Minnesota Lynx. Up and down game. The Sky led by as many as 11 points against Minnesota, but that lead evaporated, and it came down to the final possession. Courtney Vandersloot buried a 25-foot 3 at the buzzer as time expired to win the game 88-85. That was last night. That was the 3rd win. The game before that, you had Candace Parker making her triumphant return to Los Angeles, this time as a visiting player, her first time playing at Crypto.com Arena, what formerly was the Staples Center in Los Angeles, playing there for the first time since 2019 when she was still a player with the Sparks. So her first time playing in Los Angeles as a visiting player. What did she do while she was there? She just recorded a triple-double. It was her 2nd triple-double of the season and the 3rd triple-double of her career, making her the first player in WNBA history to record 3 triple-doubles in a career and 2 in the same season, as the Sky had a fairly easy victory in that one over the Los Angeles Sparks. That was 82-59. And then the big one was last week, Tuesday, against the Las Vegas Aces, the best team in the WNBA, as I see Davidson Crooks hopping into the chat, talking some WNBA here. The Sky Aces game last Tuesday. I remember I was specifically keeping an eye on it because Tuesday nights is when Cale Henderson, the host of Sin City Sports, is on doing all things Las Vegas sports. And I was all prepared to have some fun back and forth with him while he was doing his show, 9 o'clock Central Time, basically right as the game started. And I checked in on the score, and the Sky were getting absolutely crushed. And it was, never mind, I can't really talk any smack about this game because the Aces are clearly running away with it. The Aces put up 41 points in the first quarter in that game. The Sky trailed by as many as 28 points in the game. The Sky came back to win it 104-95. Remember that first quarter point total for Las Vegas? 41 points in the first quarter. The Sky held Las Vegas to just 33 points in the entire second half of that game. It was the largest come-from-behind victory in WNBA history. The previous best, 3 separate teams, including the Sky, had previously come back from being down 25 points. The Sky came back from being down 28 points to win the game. They ultimately went 3-0 last week. It was a huge week for Courtney Vandersloot. She led the team in scoring in all 3 games, 25, 15, and 18 points in the 3 games, 58 points over those 3 games to pace Chicago. Candace Parker led the team in rebounding over those 3 games. She had 32 rebounds in the 3 games. The Sky currently have the longest active winning streak in the WNBA right now. They've won their last 3 games, all 3 last week. If not for a very surprising loss against the Indiana Fever the week before, They lost 89-87 to Indiana. They'd be looking at 7 straight victories. They're 6-1 in their last 7. They are 8-2 in their last 10 games. They are the hottest team in the WNBA right now. And they currently in the ESPN power rankings jumped up from number 3 to number 1. They are gelling together. They are playing as a unit. Looking at it right now, as I see Andrew Hagenbaugh jumped into the chat. Hello, Andrew. Thanks for hopping in while you're at work. But hope things are going well for you and you're getting off work soon. Hope you're not having to stick around at work too late tonight. But thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it. The Sky, I feel like this is what we were expecting to see from the team last season. You know, Candace Parker comes over. There's the big signing in the offseason. There's the feeling and expectation that, oh man, this could be something magical. And then they got off to their very slow start. And they wound up recovering, but it took them into the second half of the season last year to really get going and get winning with their games. And that was in part because Candace Parker was hurt for so much for the start of that season. Now she's healthy, and they've basically got health all the way throughout. I'm doing some quick math here for the Sky overall. You want to start. Let's start basically from August of last year when they kind of got back. They had their break. They had the break there partway through the season. They came back in August. And that was kind of when they started to get their health about them, started to get into it a little bit here. And I'm counting on the fly. I apologize here. They went 6-6 to close out the regular season last year. So really, I mean, really it was the playoffs, really when they started to kind of catch fire and win games and get their way in. But now we're seeing from them what we thought we were going to be seeing last season. We're seeing that kind of complete team. That game against the Aces last Tuesday, coming back from that deficit, my goodness, what a performance. And obviously, okay, offensively, you've got to shoot to get yourself back into that game. You can't be missing a whole lot of shots when you're down 13 at the end of the first quarter and you trailed by as many as 28 in that game. The largest deficit, the largest deficit being, I'm getting it pulled up here. You know, they were down at one point 44-18 with under 10 minutes to go in the first half. That's where you're looking at it right there. From that point on, they turned things around. Their largest deficit was 51-23 with basically 7.5 minutes to go in the first half. From that point on, 81-44 outscoring Vegas. Obviously, you've got to shoot, but you've also got to defend the heck out of the ball, causing turnovers, causing problems all throughout. And to do that against any team, of course, is spectacular. But to do that against the best team in the league, they're going to be playing the Aces later on this season in the Commissioner's Cup. Effectively, it's for those that don't know, it's the WNBA's midseason play-in tournament. It's something the NBA is considering doing too, having some kind of mid-season tournament to just promote more teams competing throughout all points of the season, not just late in the season. For the players, it means some extra cash. They get a bonus for just playing in the Commissioner's Cup. Winner of the game, of course, gets more than the loser of the game, but they get extra money. I think the winning team gets $300,000 to spread amongst the players. The losing team gets $100,000 to spread amongst the players. That's not bad. You'll take it. And then, of course, you have Candace Parker having the huge individual achievement against the Sparks. And then the team achievement against Minnesota. One of the bottom feeders in the WNBA right now. The Lynx they've only won 5 games all season. They're not great by any stretch of the imagination, but they're still there. You've still got to take them. And the Sky yesterday, that was without their head coach James Wade, who entered the health and safety protocols. And also, they were playing without Kalia Copper. You notice I didn't talk a whole lot about Kalia Copper in there. She's out with a back injury. She missed the game yesterday entirely. She did not play at all in the game yesterday. And against the Aces, didn't contribute a ton to the stat sheet. She just scored 9 points, was 3 of 11 from the floor in the big comeback against the Aces. And against the Sparks, obviously, they didn't need a ton, but she only scored 8 points, on 3 of 7 shooting. So not a ton from her. You're only talking 17 points in 3 games. Well, that's one of your star players. That's a finals MVP last year, not giving you a whole lot. And they're still competing. They're still winning. This is the team that we thought we'd be getting a year ago. It's coming into place. It's coming into play now, and they're right there. They're technically in second place in the league standings. They are atop the Eastern Conference standings by just half a game behind. They are a half a game in front of Connecticut. The Sky are 13-5. Connecticut's 13-6. They're only a half game back of Vegas. Vegas is 13-4. Vegas plays tonight. If Vegas loses tonight, the Sky are tied for first place in the league. And then they turn around and they play Connecticut on Wednesday. Going to be a huge game against the Sun on Wednesday afternoon. It's actually a Wednesday morning. It's going to be 11 o'clock Wednesday morning when they play. Nationally televised on NBA TV. The Sky are putting it together. They've had a fantastic month. We might see another deep playoff run in basketball here in this town. It's going to be great. It's going to be fantastic. I cannot wait for it. All right, we are going to take one more quick break, and then on the flip side of that, we are going to change things up entirely. We are going to talk some hockey. We've got a championship to celebrate, and we've got a new sheriff in town to talk about. This is Chi-Town Weekly on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Hey, what's up, sports fans? You're looking for a different type of sports talk show, something you haven't heard before? You got to check out the BS3 Sports Show every other Saturday on 2 Live Stews Radio, 1 p.m. Central Time, 2 p.m. Eastern. Sports talk at its finest. Always have great guests, playing some good hip-hop. You don't want to miss it. Make sure to tune in to the BS3 Sports Show every other Saturday at 1 p.m. Central Time, 2 p.m. Eastern.
What's happening, sports fans? Are you a fan of Southern California sports? Are you looking for a show hotter than a hot summer day in California? Then look no further than the SoCal Supreme Sports Show, where I talk about all things Southern California sports. That's right, all sports teams from Southern California. From the hard-hitting tackles of the NFL, to the killer crossovers and big three-pointers of the NBA and WNBA, to the grand slams of the MLB, to the bone-chilling goals of the NHL, and to the booming kicks of the MLS, the SoCal Supreme Sports Show has it all for you. Oh, and let us not forget about the college sports as well. So join me, Taryn Rodriguez, every week here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
What is going on, everybody? My name is Harrison Glazer, and we're coming at you from the Show That Never Sleeps podcast. I cover the Jets, the Islanders, the Nets, and the Yankees.
This is Pierre Moss, and I cover the Mets, Knicks, Rangers, and the Giants.
Our show is live every Wednesday through Spreaker and a bunch of other ways to get our content. Again, we're the Show That Never Sleeps podcast. We talk about all those New York sports. It's a lot of fun. We get into all of it. Please tune in. Again, that's Wednesdays at 6 p.m.
And we look forward to having you guys right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Everybody, this is Taryn Rodriguez. Are you a fan of volleyball? Are you a fan of Thunderous Spikes? Then I have the show for you, Set Point, where I cover NCAA men's and women's volleyball, high school boys and girls volleyball, beach volleyball, and even professional volleyball. Catch the action every week here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
And welcome back into Chi-Town Weekly on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Of course, be sure to tune in, stay tuned in, stick around after we are done tonight, and listen to Taryn Rodriguez as he hosts Set Point, getting you caught up on all things happening in the world of volleyball. I promise you, you will be entertained. You will learn something that you did not know about volleyball. Taryn does an amazing job. Stick around right after us for Set Point here on IE Sports Radio. And catching up in the chat, yes, Taryn, the Sky definitely paid back the Sparks for ruining the championship banner night. Yes, the Sparks had the audacity to beat the Sky to open the season as the Sky were unveiling the championship banner. They got a little bit of payback for that, yes. And Davidson, if you're still listening and tuning in, if you missed the first segment, Davidson Crooks of Fast Break, please go back and listen to the first segment. I'd love to get your take on a theory I have of the Bulls drafting Dalen Terry, basically because I think they might be trying to pull off a move here, might be trying to pull off a trade, but I'd love to get your opinion on that. And hello, Gina. I see you in the chat room there. Thanks for jumping in. All right, before we get out of here tonight, we've been talking a lot of basketball. Let's talk some hockey. For those of you who may not know, I do also co-host our hockey show here on IE Sports Radio. I do the Neutral Zone with my friend Zach Puplis. He and I go on Tuesday nights at 8 o'clock Central Time, talking all things hockey. Of course, we've been talking a lot of Stanley Cup playoffs the last several episodes because the Stanley Cup final just finished last night. The Colorado Avalanche won the Stanley Cup. But here locally, even though the Blackhawks were not involved in the Stanley Cup final, first of all, former player Brandon Hagel, whom they traded to the Tampa Bay Lightning, he got to participate in the Stanley Cup final, had himself a decent series there with the Lightning, though he did wind up on the short end. But we had some good hockey to pay attention to. The Chicago Wolves of the American Hockey League, hockey's AAA, if you will. The Chicago Wolves, the top affiliate of the Carolina Hurricanes, they participated in the playoffs in the American Hockey League, and they won the Calder Cup, the hockey equivalent, the American Hockey League equivalent of the Stanley Cup. They won the championship. Took 5 games to beat the Springfield Thunderbirds, top affiliate of the St. Louis Blues. The Wolves won the championship, their 3rd AHL title, first time since 2008. So 14 years since their last title. Keep in mind, this is the first time we'd had a Calder Cup championship since COVID. They didn't play for the Calder Cup in 2021 or in 2020. So this is the first time since 2019 that the Calder Cup has been awarded. So the Wolves winning the championship. Forward Josh Levo won the MVP of the playoffs, 29 points, including 15 goals in the 18 games played. That's more points than anybody had in the playoffs in the past 14 years. Some other notable guys for the Wolves: Stefan Noesen had 25 points, Jack Drury 24 points, Andrew Podorowski with 23 points for the Wolves. The Wolves won the championship in a 4-0 win over Springfield on Saturday night to win the Calder Cup. Their path through the playoffs did take them through the local Rockfield Ice Hogs. That's the Blackhawks affiliate, the Milwaukee Admirals, and then the Stockton Heat to win it. The Thunderbirds had taken the first game. The Wolves went on and took the final 4. So a delayed sweep, if you will, in winning the Calder Cup. So congratulations to the Chicago Wolves winning their 3rd Calder Cup championship. And then at the NHL level, there's some rumors going about. Now the Blackhawks put out, I'm going to go ahead and check Twitter real fast because I saw the Blackhawks put a tweet out earlier today that they were being intentionally cryptic, and indeed they made it official earlier today. Luke Richardson is the 40th head coach in Chicago Blackhawks history. The 53-year-old had previously served as a bench coach with the Montreal Canadiens. He has a 21-year career in the NHL as a player, actually making his NHL debut in 1987. Not to make you feel old, Coach, but that's the year I was born. A defensive 10th all-time in games played as an NHL defenseman, over 1,400 games played. Actually, ironically enough, made his NHL debut at the old Chicago Stadium. He was not playing for the Blackhawks at the time, but he made his NHL debut at the old Chicago Stadium. And I read a quote from him earlier about how that was about as electric of an atmosphere as he ever experienced. That old Chicago Stadium, that place rocked. I'm not old enough to have been there personally, but every story I have ever heard, read, listened to about the old stadium was that place was nuts. Richardson, he spent time, of course, he was most recently the assistant head coach of the Montreal Canadiens. He held that position for 4 years. He's previously been an assistant with the Ottawa Senators and the New York Islanders. He has also been a head coach, not at the NHL level, but he has been a head coach at the AHL level, head coaching the Binghamton Senators from 2012 to 2016. He also has been the head coach for Team Canada in 2016 for the Spangler Cup, one of their Canadian national tournaments. So Luke Richardson is the new head coach of the Chicago Blackhawks. One of the quotes that I read about him was that they wanted somebody who's going to be there for the long haul. They weren't necessarily looking for a quick fix, a quick turnaround at head coach. So Richardson being 53 years old, because Barry Trotz is a great head coach who's out there and available. Now, Trotz did say over the weekend that he's actually planning on taking this upcoming season off from coaching. But there was, he was the top name that was showing up everywhere. Was would Barry Trotz fit here? Would Barry Trotz fit there? Trotz, being in his 80s, would definitely be somebody that you're looking at a little bit faster of a turnaround. With Richardson being in his 50s, the Blackhawks probably are going to be looking at a rebuild. I would not be surprised if there's some moves to do some selling and get a little worse before things get better. But they've got their new head man. So we've got a new general manager, got a new head coach. We'll see what this new era in Blackhawks hockey will bring. Hopefully we'll be able to focus on purely on-ice stories with the Blackhawks for a while. All right. Want to say thank you to all of our sponsors, the Southern California Warriors. Want to say thank you again to our Patreon supporters, Bay Area Raised, MLOS Great, Key to the Gate, and our anonymous supporter. Thank you to Larry for all the hard, crazy work he does behind the scenes, organizing everything, keeping everything going with all the social media, all the shows, managing TikTok now, and all the cool, crazy stuff going on. So thank you to Larry. Thank you to everybody in the chat room tonight, to Gina, Andrew, Taryn, Davidson. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out with us here in the chat room tonight. Finally, thank you, the listener, for coming in, again, whether you were live here tonight or listening later on the playback as a podcast. Thank you for including me in your week. I really do appreciate it. I hope you had some fun. I definitely had some fun. Yeah, we talked about some different things tonight, but I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got something out of it. All right, next week's going to be a little bit different. Obviously, we've got the holiday of the 4th of July. I'm not sure what time I will be on next week. It definitely will not be at the normal time next week. I'm going to be doing a concert at this point next Monday night. So follow me on Twitter at IESRC. Follow IE Sports Radio. You'll have an update. I'm thinking probably a noon Central Time next week, but that's TBD. So pay attention on Twitter. We'll keep you posted. Until then, everybody stay safe, stay healthy. Have a wonderful week. We will see you next time.